Meanwhile, there's bugs crawling all over.
There's no bugs.
There are two.
They're
What the fuck do you
outside.
think they're for? That's why I got up to get them. Fuck it. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck.
They're
Never mind.
outside.
They are not.
They are so.
They are not. They were walking right along the inside of that. What
Please.
freaking thing here that goes, that holds the
Welcome. I think we're ready. Would you like to start with the budget report?
Sure. Be relatively short one today. So just go over some of the numbers that we track on a regular basis. As you can see, we're looking a little light on Parkland year to date. I'm not sure why that is the case. I can reach out to the Parkland department and to the police department in terms of finding out why. I know that we hired a new parking enforcement officer and then lost a parking enforcement officer. I think we hired another one, but I'm not entirely sure.
So it's common, the actual year today, it's just the first quarter, correct?
No, that is only specifically true for lodging tax.
Oh,
Everything else, with the exceptions of sales, marketing, and lodging tax, where I identify how many orders it includes, or how many paid periods it includes, everything else is year to date through the prior month. This is all through July.
Oh,
So would that have to do because a whole bunch of these meters are not working, or there are new ones, but the new ones haven't arrived?
Quite possible, yeah.
And I hear about comment before? But it's quite a lot. That I will work.
I thought that we worked by old meters because
We
we were
were-
replacing the kiosks.
Yes, but you remember we went through that, so not all of them have been kiosks. And the thing is, we said until it will take some time for the kiosks to take place, so we said let's order them. That was like the beginning here. So that was the theory behind it, but I know there's a lot of them don't work. So you might have to do that.
Wasn't there an issue also that was too far with parking that we lost a month or something? Isn't that
We lost a month parking.
there was some issue about. I forget what the issue was. Software change, something like that.
Oh, there was a conversion of the software, the old software provider to the new software provider, so that would be it. I think I got how many parking tickets they could issue, maybe.
yeah, I think that was correct.
So that's probably part of that then.
Well, why don't we ask our finance?
You might want to ask the parking bureau as well. Parking bureau is that's not work, because they should be able to tell you on that side of the equation.
So under the new situation with the kiosks, is the parking rate going to change?
I think this is something that, well, the party committee will discuss this.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to, when we start like on the meeting, later, I'd like to talk.
Okay, so,
So we'll bring it up.
okay, and also, the Amtrak,
Yeah.
the voucher costs from the Amtrak.
Yeah, that is a little more complicated. But today we have this issue.
I saw that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Building and plumbing permits, you can see that we're pretty much tracking versus budget on that, not too lot ahead. We're 58% of the year through, and we're at 65% of budget, so that's looking good. Sales tax, so that's 2 out of 4 payments, we get 4 quarterly payments a year. This is the first 2, so we're at 1.08 million, which is 47% of the budget. But as I said, generally the third quarter is the highest, so it's usually a little under 50% when we're at 2 and 4 payments. So I think we're going to be fine on that. Mortgage tax, again, that just comes in 2 payments. We should get the next one probably this month, so I'll probably, I can't guarantee, have a updated number for you for next month. We're close on that. It's always, I mean, that's probably one of the ones that varies the most because it just does. That, control any aspect of it, so you just take the check that the county gives us. And then lodging tax, as we discussed, let's just put it on the record. So this only reflects the first quarter of 2024 so far. I anticipate having that updated through August for the next meeting. If you really care, once I've done all the calculations, I can send the information, you can email ahead of the meeting. Okay, and we'll just wait till the next meeting. So, yeah, so just rest assured that it's not through August, that is only through March. And generally, the January, February, March are the lightest months in terms of login tax collection. I know that we are looking at starting some level of reaching out now that Peyton has done work to identify who isn't in compliance. I've met with Michelle a couple different times. We agree that the first step is going to be basically a warning letter on city treasurer letterhead, but they're going to take care of actually sending them out. Basically saying, hey, you're not registered, we know you're supposed to be registered.
So I was looking at, because this was, legal committee is going to look at short-term rental, the current vote that we have and so on. And the penalties for non-registration are really,
Yes.
is that something that if we look at that, might encourage more compliance? Because if you fall out of compliance with registering, it's the greater of two. It's either $3,000
Right, or what you collected.
or everything, all your revenue from the period. It's 3,000 per quarter, if you make a mistake, or your total revenue for leasing. And so that is so high that people are not going to want to just, come out of the woodwork and register. I mean, because I think that's a real impediment.
Has anyone ever paid those fees?
Because we really haven't been in a position to start really enforcing
Register for, I'm sorry.
short-term rentals.
Oh, okay.
So the reason we were looking at it is because there's New York State has now has a registry situation, and it seems like the time for us to take a look at how we're doing it, how we're implementing it, whether or not it's more efficient for us to work. But because we have a registry that's in place for the new law, we can continue with our database. But municipalities are not allowed to start their databases after their law. So this would seem like a good time to take a look at exactly what it's costing us to try to do compliance and what revenue we're bringing in. So the 68 here includes hotels, right? Do you know what portion of that 68 is from, Okay.
I mean, can we find out probably so we can do it correctly would be a not insignificant amount, but it could probably be.
When I was in Tampa like 5 years ago, some conversations, but short-term rentals were approximately, I want to say, 200-ish,
Maybe 300,
maybe 270.
275 to 300.
And about how many, after the law went into effect, about how many do you know-ish
Dollar amount or registration?
registrations?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking dollars. It wasn't in the 200-ish. The highest point was in the low, like 120 maybe. I believe in the last documentation.
Like 68 or something.
Yeah, I believe in Michelle's last documentation, it's about 68, and then there was
And there's a couple that she's trying to chase down.
4 that are, they're in back and forth discussions, trying to cajole them to, and I do think, and again, I know you're gonna talk to Michelle and Peyton, and obviously, it will ultimately be a decision that the council will have to be involved in, but I do know that they are taking that penalty thing into consideration and trying to be not draconian in terms of implementing it in order to get more registration, but potentially maybe picking 1 or 2 of the, the big culprits and maybe making a little bit of a exception for them. Yeah.
Would it be possible, starting 2025, to do the multi-tax split between those and is it hard? I mean,
Yeah, right now it would be hard because.
Not now, I mean, starting,
I think it will be easier for a couple reasons. One is that the firm that we're using, which is Azavar, also known as Local Gov is a software product, but Azavar is a company. They are porting everybody over to the platform. And my understanding, I've looked at the sandbox, you know, it already looks like it's gonna be a little more user friendly. My team, Danielle and Peyton and Michelle were on like a 2-hour phone call the other day, going through the whole application and getting rid of the, you know, the stuff that just carried over for years that isn't necessarily useful anymore. So we're gonna have a much more streamlined application. I believe that will include, obviously, what they're registered as. And the question is, how good are the reporting capabilities in the new software? Because in the old software, all the data there is super challenging to get out. It's a very complicated Excel spreadsheet because from our perspective, the money we collect needs to be recorded in different accounts, right? Because you've got lodging tax, but you've got penalties and interest, and you've got certificate of occupancy. Those all have to be recorded as separate costs. It does come in, but it just comes in, you know, this huge spreadsheet that isn't very well organized. So I've got it figured out and doing it, so that's why, but in one of the conversations we had about that, about moving to the new software, I asked if there would be, you know, perhaps some stronger reporting capabilities, and I'm gonna go ahead and send them what it is that I need in terms of reporting, so that hopefully they can help, and they indicated that if it wasn't easy to do, you know, as an end user, that they might be able to help us, right? They've just been extremely helpful the entire time we've been with them, so I have nothing but good things to say about them, and I know Peyton and Michelle will be very happy with them as well. So much so that I believe they're looking at getting rid of lodging webs for compliance and moving to local gov for the compliance component as well, which will also be nicer because then it will all be integrated in the same system and will save the city quite a lot.
Is there any way that the platform, the RDO software itself can take the fees, can take the taxes, and then send that money directly to the municipality, as opposed to, having the host having to do all that? That makes sense? Like,
I have no idea, and that frankly is not a, you know, as a city employee, I don't care. You know, I mean, if the person who's running short-term rental wants to figure it out, if they can go and, you know, have all the Hudson represented by VRBO or Airbnb and get them to do the work for them, that'd be one thing, but that would actually be, it'd have to be like a short-term rental.
So,
You know, people's.
in the middle of all, the responsibility of the listing companies to collect.
takes like the time first, yeah.
Yes. In the new law, that is everything.
And then they would give that money to the municipalities directly, as opposed to going.
What happens right now?
But as of right now, you get a report from the listing company, and then you have to separate, figure out what the tax is, and then post that, figure out taxes, and then pay the city. But I think what you're saying is that if Airbnb took, or whoever Airbnb took the taxes straight from the get-go, and then hand us, that would eliminate having to go answer. Makes sense.
Yes, but I would not be thrilled if it turned out that it's coming to New York and then New York returns sending it to us, because
Gotcha.
that can have time. No, New York would take a cut somewhere. But we'll see. I mean, state law is going to be the state law if it gets passed. So,
Well, it has passed, but I'm not concerned that.
I know it's not here. So we'll have to, yeah. I have a copy of it, so I scanned it, but I haven't read it. Completely solved it through it, so.
When they do it. But I'm glad that we're looking at those fees, because that, to me, that's like such an element of registering it. You know. Yeah, so, yeah.
But on the other hand, if we've got, you know, a little bit of evidence of doing this thing on Airbnb and showing what they said they're booked, we don't think that much of it. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the question of the penalties and how aggressively one that is going to become a question for next year.
Yes, that's right.
So, you know, if you want to modify the law on those regards to, yeah, what we want some, to you guys.
All right,
By the way, with the amnesty for parking tickets, I think we get three people in things.
But AMC's probably a pretty good idea.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's actually-
And then we look at, the level of the ones that
maybe not good, it's a lot of reference, but at least did that. Didn't the police when MSC control?
Yeah, you know, kind of amnesty. That's what gangs. People folks.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
So our office and some of the other places as well, but obviously our office just been snapped with the 2023 audit. The good news that it's close to completion, so I anticipate having the actual 2023 audit financial statements next meeting. So working on all the ADP stuff, the GL software and utility billing that we were supposed to have initially converted to in 2023, which didn't happen, obviously. And then when they finally got their schedules, they were trying to schedule us for the fourth quarter of this year, which is an insane time to try and convert the software because, you know, we have the quarterly billing, we have the tax bills that go out at the end of the year, we have to take school, you know, delinquent taxes and get that converted into the system. So we, at this time, we basically said, let's just wait, start beginning of 2025, because we're actually finally on the calendar now.
So wait a second, what are we doing with the delinquent tax stuff?
School delinquent taxes, so the school issues their tax bill in July of every year. They do two collections. I'm gonna say it's August and October. I could be wrong. Basically, anything that isn't collected by the school of their own tax bills by October 31st, all the delinquent bills come over to the city, and we're responsible for collecting on behalf of the school in perpetuity.
So everything agreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we get the file in November, so that's a whole other thing that has to be done from the software and from file conversion standpoint to get those tax bills into our
So
tax
that's for the
collections.
school, then. Other taxes?
City taxes.
Yeah.
About that.
How about the Bitcoin ones? How are we a lot, I think there's a lot of,
There's, last I ran the report, there were a fair amount, there's always a fair amount, and then once these start foreclosure proceedings, very much like we're talking about doing with the lodging tax, you know, I'll send out just something on my letter that says, well, first of all, we do the statement in November of every year, that just gets generated out of the system. We wait until the school tax.
like, for example, the paddle. Right?
That's a whole different issue, that is a different issue, that's a foreclosure or tax foreclosure issue.
Yes, exactly. So what is happening?
There are no attorneys currently assigned to either the foreclosure process or getting that foreclosure. Getting the eviction.
So
Getting the eviction.
is this,
I know Andy is looking for attorneys to take it up.
so the entity has to remind me?
I think so. I mean, I'll send him an email tomorrow, just.
I mean, it's crazy. I walk by there, it's like,
No, it's
it's
insane.
half a million dollars.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
We'll just get our taxes and your own on it. We're not gonna get anything done.
Huh? Yeah.
You explain, you know, the rule of law. and-
Yeah, where was you going to get?
Okay. So I'm not gonna put it-
We're not getting anything.
But you're still out the money.
Right. And this point, it's well over $100,000.
From what is this from?
There's a property, so one of the properties that was in the last round of foreclosures we did is 98 Powder Place. I won't go into all the details, but long story short, they filed for bankruptcy, which stay on our activities. That means we can't take any further projects to close on the house. It was already in the city's name though, because they didn't file the foreclosure until after we had closed on the property. Once he entered into the bankruptcy, basically he entered into bankruptcy, which means we couldn't do anything, but then he didn't follow the bankruptcy rules. And so his bankruptcy is basically null and void, which means the property now is officially reversed to the city again. The problem is that happened right before the pandemic, so we couldn't do anything without evicting them during the pandemic. And then we had an attorney that was working on it, and that just didn't go anywhere. That attorney is no longer working on it, and we don't have a replacement attorney yet. So basically, there's people living in the house, they've been living in it for years, they should have been infected 4 years ago, but between the pandemic and the lack of legal activity, they're still there.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just keeping the sidewalk improvement district fees on this, so that we all don't forget. I mean, I know they're working on a major meeting, so that's good. We have two different issues. One issue is how does it get onto the tax bills, which is a file that they're gonna have to create and give to real property, for real property to indent it onto the file that they provide us, and that's their taxes, they can save the things like drawings. But the other thing we gotta figure out is how we can collect it, because that's a whole different thing. So now, we don't currently have a mechanism when the tax bills come in to say, this amount, like, you know, we have to go in, there's files, you know, Peterborough, all this stuff, but when it comes in, and somebody pays their bill, they pull something up and it goes to say, take this amount, and it's for the county taxes, this amount for the city taxes, and it's water sewer bill, they know where to apply to the water sewer bills. So we're gonna have to create another one of those things in our, you know, 1998 DOS-based collection software. Which hopefully we won't have to do it in that one, because if we're not doing it until 2026 now, which is what I'm being told, won't be until the 2026 cycles, hopefully we will have converted to doing software by then. We have already brought it up with our software provider, but that's part of the reason I'm keeping this on here is to remind me that, you know, if we're sending out bills, we need a way to collect them and make sure that the collection software knows how to recognize the revenue and work with it.
Is there an estimate as to how much money they're expecting annually to bring them to Sun?
I think they did an estimate back in the day. I couldn't tell you what it was. Say, maybe 400,000 a year.
Yeah, I think a better idea is to get done with what they're doing right now.
Right.
You know, the systems to figure out what everybody's gonna have.
The only other concern that I have, or something to keep in mind, is that we seeded the sidewalk improvement district with $500,000 with the idea that that would be, you know, you get the project kickstarted faster, but the actual work done to make, you know, the 88 people happy. But that loan would be paid back from the initial proceeds of the sidewalk, from the fees. Given the fact that it has now been so long and we're still not collecting fees, I believe they're planning on going ahead and getting work done this year to the tune of about 200,000. So the question is, what happens in 2025? Because if they're going to do another round of work before we have any revenue in, that's going to eat up. Presumably, we'll keep it below the amount that will keep it below the 500,000. But then the other question is going to be, how quickly can we pay that interfund loan back? And my presumption is we're taking in 400 a year, or we're going to want at least half of it for actual work. So it may take 3 or 4 years to get that loan paid back. So just something to keep in mind. I've already, more county detail that you need, I've already moved it into, you know, non-spendable fund balance, so OSC won't have a problem with the loan being out as long as it is. They generally don't like it when loans last that long, but,
I have an ADP question. If we could go back to that.
I'm not sure I'll be able to answer it, but.
So it's kind of strange. My current employer uses it. And so I have a contract with him. So when Hudson switched over, my Hudson information is not showing up the same. Right now, it's very low. I voted for the separate. So you know that they just roll everything together under.
I mean, if that's what you're saying, I'm presuming that's what they do.
Okay, so we have 5 minutes, so.
What is it? What's this policy?
So we talked about this before. This is a fund balance policy. It is a generally preferred document to have a living version of a fund balance policy that's reviewed and approved every year. I don't remember when we did this one, 2017, 18, I think it was 2017, and then we renewed it in 18 and then 19, and then, the pandemic happened. So, this is just for you guys to review, and to discuss. I haven't looked at it in a long time either, so I'm just gonna go through and make sure that all of the, the actual stuff is gonna work. I believe it is, I believe it's still having its own sign balance and all that. And it's fine.
With that,
But really, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really, the big question is really what percentages we want to set aside. And we talked about that before, and I think, I think we're all in agreement that 25 is too high, 18 is too low, so somewhere in the middle.
hold on. One big question I had about this. Every time I ask, what is the current fund balance? You said you can't really come up with a figure. But yet, how do you determine when it's 25%?
You have to look at it retroactively. So like, we at the end of the year, we get a financial statement, so it's like, oh, look, fund balance fell below this percentage, what are we gonna do to make sure that we bring it back up? Or, oh, look, fund balance is much higher because it should be at the low end and the high end. Because you don't want just a bunch of, and this is specific to, unallocated
Right.
funds. Because it's
So
all
you're saying you think that percentage against what figure
revenues.
from the year before?
Yeah, so like at the end of this financial statement, we can look at the fund balance versus 2023 ending fund balance versus 2023 revenues.
Okay. So you're not getting an actual picture, the percentage of the fund balance at the moment. You're saying it's going to be, you're getting a picture of it going beneath that percentage relative to the previous year's final figure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much all you can do because,
That's, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So this policy, this has to go through, it has to be approved by the full council, right? So you want this committee to review it and then send it, work with you on conditions and then send it to council, is that what we
If that works for you guys.
Right, so basically, well, sorry, just to, so the fund balance is just, the fund balance is just like a savings account.
Okay.
Savings account. And then you say that, 25%, we're gonna hold on to the side, some of it's allocated for certain projects, some of it's not allocated.
Okay.
And we have to figure out how much of a buffer we need every year. So that's what.
Say,
Kind of a sense.
No, I think, no, I understand fund balance, so just asking process wise.
Yeah.
From this policy, we need to review it, make any additions,
Thank you.
et cetera. And then,
I think people bring it to the whole
does,
board.
you need this done by next month?
okay. So we can discuss it here, actually.
But the buffer is like plentiful, basically, so 18 or 25%, what we really need.
Well, document that the state provides suggests, doesn't suggest so much percentages, it says 2 months, you should have to always cover 2 months expenses. So that works roughly in that range.
It's technically not the state, it's technically the Government Financial Officers Association, because the state will absolutely refuse to give guidance on what the appropriate fund balance should be. They won't do it.
No, I think I'm talking about the document that the comptroller provides issues. So that is the state.
Yeah. I've never seen that.
And I sent it to you.
Most of the ones that I've seen, but in any case, that is guidance from at least one place, if not more than one place, because it's also in the GMO recommendation. And that is being, 18 and change percent. So that's obviously the bare minimum that we should have. Right now, this one, I believe, says between 25 and 35. So we probably want to look at more like 20 to 25. So, but certainly that's, I can recommend that you guys can make the decision on that. And that's it.
And lastly, the grant coordinator.
What was it?
Grant coordinator.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's not our capacity to hire someone.
Have you spoken to him?
Oh, yeah. He's thinking about it. I don't know exactly where it stands, but it's not there now.
Want me to remind him?
Yeah, I do it regularly.
You said I can do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have money set aside?
No.
Yeah, but we're looking for part-time. And the hours.
And there are some, you know, again, grants are not my daily call, but I have even a lot more done now than I did. You know, there are some grants that will have a percentage of admin fee, camp for admin, which could be applied against those costs, other ones do not. I don't know how, if anybody thinks they're gonna manage a grant, they're not having a portion of the grant assigned to admin, but apparently there's some grants out there that just don't.
Well, why don't
Bigger
we-
municipalities can do, you know.
Why
grant
don't we,
writers can- grant departments.
Sure.
why don't we ask the birds? That they know about.
They do, so I think they do.
Let me, huh? I'll ask them.
That's good.
Yeah.
I feel like they already has them too, want to be
Didn't know.
involved in admin, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Michael,
Hey, Doc.
all right, anything else? We want to discuss any other fees or?
You know, I've brought this up before. The youth department, like, is very good or anything, but they.
And great.
Can you read it aloud, please?
The youth department license.
So, the budget is currently $100,000, and I asked the question, I think that's what I asked me, the school district got that $100,000 for after school programs and so forth. The last data that we had for the after school kids, the youth department, now something like 40% of not some residents. And I really like looking at coming up with a way to have a fee. For non-licensing residents. School district now is a big grant, still funding kids outside Hudson from our revenues. We're not getting anything from the county. You have brought this up.
So at the supervisors meeting.
Yes, you brought it up. Yes,
He was supposed to be mayor.
yes, that's
So
right.
I'll hold on for mayor.
Yeah.
Right.
And if, you know, absolute contributions from the other municipalities or the county, I think we really need to be looking at a fee for non-city residents. And then just at this point, you know, the school district having all this additional grant money for programs and so on, for us to continue on this community suggestion. I think we have to-
Well, I want first to just the option county.
Yes, that would be-
without going.
Right, that would be, yeah,
So let's just see.
yes, that would be,
Even our county supervisors.
yes.
They could go back to the county and say,
Yes.
hey, this
Oh, I know.
help us out.
Before you put a fee on it.
Right, right.
I thought there was always a fee. but-
All right, anything else?
No.
No, but we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.